Have you ever wondered what hides on those forgotten islands in the Pacific, where American troops once stormed beaches in World War II? Places where the jungle swallows secrets and ancient things wait for fresh blood? My name is Jack Thompson, and I'm the only survivor from that hellish mission in 1944. Back then I was a young Marine, tough on the outside but scared inside. This is my story, the one that still wakes me up screaming, of how my squad faced the green demons and only I made it out alive. It started like any other op. We were a tight squad of 6. Me, Sarge, our hard-nosed leader with a cigar always lit. Ramirez, my best buddy, always cracking jokes to ease the tension. Doc, our medic calm under fire. Murphy, the radio guy, fidgety but reliable. And Lee, our sharpshooter, quiet and deadly. We'd seen action in Guadalcanal, lost friends to bullets and bombs. But nothing prepared us for Isla Verde, a tiny speck of land off the Philippines. Command said it was a recon job. Sneak in, scout for Jap holdouts, grab intel on their hidden base. Rumors floated from pilots who'd flown over. Strange lights in the trees, screams that weren't human. Locals called it Devil's Rock, home to green spirits that hunted at night. We laughed it off as jungle fever talk. We dropped in at dusk, parachutes blooming like ghosts against the orange sky. The island hit us hard, thick vines choking the paths, humid air thick as soup and a weird smell like rotten fruit mixed with blood. We set up camp in a clearing, hearts pounding from the jump. That first night, as stars poked through the canopy, I felt eyes on us. Not enemy soldiers, something older, hungrier. Little did we know, stepping onto that cursed rock had sealed our fate. The whispers started soon after, pulling us into the nightmare. Landing on Isla Verde felt like dropping into a bad dream. Our parachutes snagged on the thick canopy, and we hit the ground hard, rolling in wet sand mixed with jagged rocks. The island was tiny, maybe a mile across, but it felt alive, like the jungle was breathing down our necks. Vines twisted everywhere, fat leaves dripping from the constant mist. The air smelled heavy, salt from the ocean crashing nearby, mixed with something rotten, like dead fish left in the sun. We shook off the jump, checked our gear, rifles, packs, a radio that barely crackled, and huddled up under Sarge's orders. Sarge was our rock, Sergeant Harlan Sarge Wilkins, a grizzled vet in his 30s with a scar across his cheek from Tarawa. He chewed his cigar stub like it was his last meal, barking commands in that gravel voice. Listen up, ladies. We're here for intel. Find that Jap outpost, mark it, and get out. No hero crap. He loved war stories, always quoting old movies like The Thin Red Line. But underneath he was scared too, lost his brother in Pearl Harbor. That's why he pushed us hard, to keep us alive. Ramirez was my closest pal. Private First Class Eduardo Ramirez, a Mexican-American kid from Texas, same age as me, 21. He was built like a tank with a grin that could light up the dark. Hey Jack, think we'll find buried treasure? Or just more mosquitoes? He'd joke, slapping bugs off his neck. He carried our M1 Garand like it was an extension of his arm, and he had this lucky cross from his mom tucked in his pocket. Ramirez kept spirits high, but I knew he wrote letters home every chance, dreaming of his girl waiting in Dallas. Then there was Doc, Corporal Henry Doc Mallory, our medic from Ohio, tall and lanky with glasses that fogged in the humidity. He wasn't a fighter, more a bookworm who joined up to do his part. Doc patched us up after scrapes, always calm, humming old hymns under his breath. God watches over fools like us, he'd say with a wink. Murphy was our comms guy. Private Sean Murphy, an Irish kid from Boston, fidgety as hell with his radio pack weighing him down. He chain-smoked Lucky Strikes, muttering about bad vibes from the start. And Lee, Sergeant Victor Lee, our Korean-American sharpshooter from California. Quiet, deadly accurate with his Springfield sniper rifle. He didn't talk much, but his eyes missed nothing, always scanning the trees like he sensed trouble before it hit. Me, Private Jack Thompson from a farm in Iowa. I was the greenhorn, fresh out of boot camp, with calluses from plowing fields but no real combat scars yet. I'd enlisted after my dad died, thinking war would make me a man. Now with the jungle closing in, I felt like a kid again. My pack held the basics. Ammo, K-rations, a knife, and a photo of my little sister back home. Come back whole, she'd said at the train station. I promised I would, But Isla Verde already felt wrong. We pushed inland from the beach, Sarge leading with his Thompson submachine gun ready. The jungle swallowed us quick, trees towering like giants, roots snaking across the path like traps. No birds sang, just the hum of insects and distant waves. "Stay sharp," Sarge growled. Japs could be anywhere, but it wasn't the enemy we worried about first. Murphy's radio picked up static, garbled voices that sounded like whispers too faint to make out. "Probably interference from the volcano," he said, tapping the set. Isla Verde had an old dormant peak at its center, black rock jutting like a tombstone. We found a clearing by a stream for camp, mossy ground, ferns everywhere. Set up pup tents, dug foxholes, posted watches. Ramirez and I shared first shift, sitting back to back with rifles across our laps. The mist rolled in thick, turning everything gray. "You hear that?" Ramirez whispered after an hour. I strained, faint giggles like kids playing hide-and-seek in the trees. "Wind," I said, but my skin prickled. We scanned with flashlights, beams cutting through fog, but saw nothing, just shadows dancing. Morning brought more weirdness. Lee found tracks near the stream, small footprints like a child's, but with claw marks at the toes. "Monkeys?" Doc suggested, kneeling to examine. But they were too humanoid. 3 toes, deep impressions. Sarge dismissed it. Focus on the mission. Japs first, zoo animals later. We broke camp and headed toward the coordinates, rumored Jap bunker on the north side. The path narrowed, vines grabbing at our boots. That rotten smell grew stronger, making my stomach turn. As we hiked, I thought about home, the open fields, my sister's laugh. War had already changed me, but this island felt different, like it was watching. Murphy kept fiddling with the radio, catching snatches of those whispers. Names, ours maybe. "Thompson, Ramirez." He shook it off as echo from our own chatter. But doubt crept in. Doc found carvings on a tree, crude drawings of stick figures hunted by green blobs with red eyes. "Local myths," he said, but his voice shook. By afternoon, we reached the old Jap outpost. Rusted barbed wire, collapsed bunkers overgrown with moss. No live enemies, just skeletons in tattered uniforms, bones picked clean. Not from bullets. Looked like teeth marks. "Animals got 'em," Sarge muttered, but the skulls had claw gouges. We searched for intel, maps, codes, but found a Jap soldier's journal instead. Doc translated bits. "Green devils come at night. Eyes like fire. Take our men one by one." We laughed nervously, superstition from starving troops. But as sun dipped, the giggles returned, closer now. That night in camp, tension built. Lee took watch, his sniper scope sweeping the dark. I couldn't sleep, staring at the canopy. Ramirez nudged me. "You okay, hermano?" I nodded, but fear gnawed. Then Murphy screamed from his post. Something grabbed his leg, pulling him into the brush. We rushed out, guns blazing into shadows. He came back limping, a scratch on his calf oozing green pus. Felt like hands. Small, cold hands. Doc bandaged it, but Murphy's face paled, sweat beading despite the chill. The island was toying with us, I realized. Those tracks, whispers, carvings, they weren't random. Something ancient lived here, awakened by the war, and we'd walked right into its lair. If only we'd turned back then before the real hunt began. The second day on Isla Verde dawned gray and heavy, the mist clinging to everything like a wet blanket. We broke camp at first light, Sarge pushing us hard toward the northern ridge where the Jap bunker was supposed to be. My boots squelched. In the mud, vines slapping my face as we hacked through the undergrowth with machetes. The air felt thicker, the rotten smell stronger, like the island was exhaling some ancient poison. Murphy's scratch from the night before looked worse, swollen, with green veins spidering up his leg. Doc changed the bandage, frowning. "Infection setting in fast. Keep an eye on it." Murphy shrugged it off, but his eyes darted nervously to the trees. We were all on edge after that grab in the dark. Ramirez walked beside me, his usual jokes falling flat. "You think it's Japs playing tricks, setting traps?" I shook my head. Those tracks were too small, and the whispers. They knew our names. He crossed himself with his lucky pendant. "Don't say that, Jack. Bad enough fighting people. Don't need ghosts, too." But deep down, we both felt it. This wasn't a normal island. The war had stirred something up, something that didn't care about sides or flags. Sarge led from the front, his Thompson slung low, cigar puffing smoke like a signal flare. Eyes open, mouth shut. We're Marines, not Boy Scouts. Lee scouted. Ahead, his sniper rifle ready, while Doc trailed with his med kit, humming to steady his nerves. The path climbed, the jungle giving way to rocky slopes dotted with caves. That's where we found the first real sign of trouble. A Jap patrol camp, abandoned but fresh. Tents shredded, gear scattered, and blood. Lots of it, smeared across the ground like finger paint. No bodies, just drag marks leading into the brush. What the hell? Ramirez muttered, kicking an empty ammo box. Sarge knelt by a fire pit, still warm. They were here yesterday. Something got 'em. Lee pointed to more tracks, those small clawed prints circling the site. Doc picked up a torn uniform sleeve, stained green. Not bullets, looks like bites. Murphy's radio crackled again, whispers now clear. Sarge, Doc, come play. We froze, guns up. Turn that damn thing off, Sarge barked. Murphy smacked it, but the voices lingered, giggling like twisted kids. We pressed on, tension coiling like a spring. The ridge loomed, black volcanic rock jutting from the green. Caves pocked the sides, dark mouths breathing cool air. Bunker should be up there, Sarge said, pointing to a concrete slab half buried in vines. We climbed, sweat pouring, hearts pounding. Inside, the air was stale, echoing our steps. Flashlights cut through dust, maps on walls, radios smashed, and more blood. Journals scattered, one in Japanese, Doc skimming. They saw green demons, eyes red, skin like moss. Took men at night. Ramirez laughed nervously. Superstition, Japs cracking under pressure. But then we heard it outside, scratches like nails on rock. Lee bolted to the entrance, scope up. Movement, small, fast. We rushed out, forming a perimeter. Shadows darted between trees, green blurs low to the ground. What the? Murphy fired wildly, bullets chewing bark. A screech echoed high and piercing like a child's tantrum mixed with a wildcat's yowl. Something leaped, small, about 4 feet tall, dog green and slimy like rotten algae. It had red eyes glowing like coals, jagged teeth in a wide grin, claws flashing. It slashed at Murphy's leg again before vanishing into fog. Contact! Sarge yelled, unloading his Thompson. We fired into the mist, brass casings flying. The thing, whatever it was, retreated, but not before we saw more. A pack, maybe 5, circling us. They moved like monkeys, leaping branch to branch, their laughs mocking us. Fall back to the bunker! Doc dragged Murphy inside, his wound bleeding fresh. Ramirez covered, his Garand barking. I felt a tug on my boot, cold fingers, and kicked free hard in my throat. Inside the bunker, we barricaded with crates, breaths ragged. What were those things? Lee asked, reloading. Sarge wiped sweat. Not Japs, not animals. Doc examined Murphy. The scratch festered, skin turning greenish, veins pulsing. It's spreading like poison. Murphy groaned, feverish. I hear him, in my head, laughing. The radio spat static, our names again, taunting. As night fell, the attacks ramped up. Scratches on concrete, eyes peering from vents. We took shifts, but sleep was impossible. Ramirez and I huddled, whispering. Remember boot camp? Thought that was hell. He smiled weakly. This is worse. Feels evil. I nodded, clutching my rifle. Outside, the giggles grew, dozens now. One broke through a weak spot, a green demon, face twisted in glee, claws raking Doc's arm. We shot it, green blood splattering, body twitching. Up close, it was nightmare fuel. Humanoid but wrong, ears pointed, limbs too long, mouth full of needles. Goblins, Ramirez breathed. Like in stories. Doc bandaged his scratch, but pain etched his face. Burns like fire. The journal confirmed it. Yokai awakened by bombings, feeding on blood, infecting victims to join the pack. They turn you, Doc read. Skin greens, mind breaks. Murphy worsened, eyes reddening, giggling to himself. They're fun, want to play. Sarge restrained him. Fight it, Marine. Tension cracked us. Arguments flared. We gotta evac, I yelled. Sarge shook his head. Mission first, find that intel cache. But fear spread like the infection. Lee scouted a cave nearby, finding carvings, green figures hunting sailors, eyes red. Been here forever, war woke 'em. Night deepened, whispers evolving. Join us, fresh meat. Doc's arm blistered, green tint creeping. I feel it, changing me. He begged Sarge, don't let me turn. Tears in his eyes, our calm medic breaking. The pack attacked in waves. We held the bunker, bullets flying, but ammo dwindled. One grabbed Lee from a vent, dragged him screaming into dark. We heard crunches, then silence. His rifle clattered back, covered in green slime. Ramirez fired till empty, cursing. Bastards! Murphy snapped his restraints, eyes fully red now. Playtime. He lunged at Doc, teeth bared. Sarge shot him, our own man, tears streaming. God forgive me. Only 4 left. Sarge, Ramirez, Doc, me. Doc's infection raged. Skin greening, giggles bubbling. End it, he whispered, handing his pistol. Ramirez did it, sobbing. Sorry, brother. The pack howled victory. We ran deeper into caves, flashlight beams shaking. Whispers chased. Ramirez, Jack, come out. Caves twisted like veins, walls slick with slime. We found the intel, Jap safe with maps, codes, but worthless now. Survival first. Sarge collapsed, a hidden scratch on his neck festering. Infected. During the fight, his skin paled to green. Go on without me. We argued, but he insisted. Blow the cave behind you. Ramirez and I pushed on, hearts breaking. Behind, Sarge's screams turned to laughs. Another one turned. Deeper. The Alpha's lair. A chamber glowing with bioluminescent fungi, bones piled high. Dozens of eyes watched. The pack waiting. Ramirez tripped, a claw slashing his thigh. Go, Jack, get out! He fired his last rounds, buying time. I ran, his yells fading to gurgles. Alone now, terror pure, whispers in my head. Last one. Tasty. The infection nipped at me, a scratch I hadn't noticed, burning. Visions hit. Home sister, but twisted with green faces. I fought through tunnels, emerging to beach. Flare up, rescue chopper spotted it. As it descended, I collapsed, whispers fading, but not gone. They pulled me out, but the island took everything. My squad, brothers gone, turned, or dead. And me? The itch remains, a green tint under my nails sometimes. The war's over, but the nightmare lingers. If only we'd never landed. Alone in the twisting caves of Isla Verde, the darkness pressed in like a living thing. My flashlight beam shook as I ran, the echoes of Ramirez's final shots fading behind me. His scream cut short, a wet gurgle that turned my stomach. No, 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 I muttered, tears mixing with sweat. Ramirez, my brother in arms, gone, just like the others. The whispers chased me now, bouncing off the slick walls. Jack. Last one. Come play. They weren't just sounds anymore. They wormed into my head, twisting thoughts like knives. The scratch on my arm burned hotter, a souvenir from that first demon's claw. Green pus oozed, and my skin itched like fire ants crawling underneath. Fight it, I told myself, echoing Doc's words before he begged for the end. But the infection spread, visions flickering. My sister's face, green-tinted, laughing with jagged teeth. Home felt worlds away. The farm, the ocean breeze. War had stolen enough. Now this cursed rock wanted my soul. I stumbled into a larger chamber, the air thick with that rotten fruit stench. My light swept across bones, human, Jap soldiers mostly, piled like trophies. Glowing fungi clung to walls, casting an eerie blue light. And there they were, the pack. Dozens of green demons perched on rocks like gargoyles, red eyes fixed on me. Small, twisted bodies, slimy and veined. Limbs too long for their frames, mouths stretched in perpetual grins. They chittered, a chorus of giggles that raised hairs on my neck. At the center loomed the Alpha, bigger than the rest, maybe 6 feet, with jagged horns curling from its skull like thorns. Its skin was darker green, scarred from old fights, muscles rippling under the slime. It stood on hind legs, claws flexing, eyes burning brighter. This was their king, the one the Jap journal called the Ancient One. woken by bombs feeding on intruders for centuries. It tilted its head, sniffing the air, then spoke. Not words, but in my mind. Fresh, strong. Join us, panic surged. I backed up, rifle raised, only a few rounds left. Stay back, I yelled, voice echoing. The pack advanced, leaping from shadow to shadow, their laughs mocking. One darted low. I fired, the bullet punching through its chest in a spray of green ichor. It screeched, collapsing in twitches, but two more replaced it. They were fast, coordinated like wolves with devil's cunning. The alpha lunged first, claws swiping air inches from my face. I dodged, slamming my rifle butt into its side. Felt like hitting wet concrete. It roared, a sound that vibrated bones and grabbed my pack, yanking me off balance. We tumbled, my flashlight spinning away, plunging us into blue-glow chaos. Its breath reeked of decay, teeth snapping at my throat. I kneed its gut, rolled free, and scrambled for my knife. Die, you freak! I stabbed wild, blade sinking into its arm. Green blood splashed, burning my skin like acid. The pack swarmed, tiny claws raking my legs, arms. I kicked one off, its body crunching against rock. Another latched on my back, biting my shoulder. Pain exploded, hot and deep. I slammed backward into the wall, crushing it with a squelch. But they kept coming, endless. The alpha circled, waiting for weakness. My arm throbbed, the infection pulsing, visions hitting harder. Sarge giggling green, Doc's eyes red, Ramirez tearing flesh. No, I screamed, shaking it off. I spotted my flashlight, grabbed it, beam catching the alpha's eyes. It flinched, blinded. Opportunity. I charged, knife leading, slashing its chest. It howled, claws raking my side, ribs cracked, blood soaking my uniform. We grappled, its strength overwhelming, pinning me down. Mine? Now, it whispered in my head, jaws opening wide. Desperation kicked in. My free hand fumbled for my belt, a grenade, last one. Eat this, I gasped, pulling the pin with my teeth. I jammed it into the alpha's mouth, shoving deep. It gagged, eyes widening. I rolled away as it clawed at its throat. Boom. The explosion lit the cave like daylight, green chunks flying, the alpha's body shredding in a wet blast. The shockwave knocked me flat, ears ringing, rocks tumbling. The pack shrieked in rage, swarming the remains, but the blast triggered something. Cracks spidered across the ceiling, the old volcano rumbling awake. Rocks fell, crushing demons in screams. I crawled, dodging boulders, the cave collapsing behind. Gotta get out, I panted, blood trailing. The infection burned fiercer, skin greening on my arm, giggles bubbling in my throat. No, not me. Visions assaulted, joining the pack, hunting fresh meat. I fought through tunnels, light fading, walls closing. Fresh air hit, a crack to the surface. I squeezed out, tumbling down the ridge into jungle. The island shook, distant rumbles like artillery. I staggered to the beach, flare gun in hand, last hope. Shot it skyward, red streak piercing night. Collapsed in sand, waves lapping, whispers fading but echoing. Not over. Chopper blades thrummed. Rescue, finally. Medics hauled me aboard, faces blurred. What happened? One asked. Squad. Gone. Green things, I mumbled, fever raging. They airlifted me to a carrier, docs poking and prodding. Delirium from wounds, they said. But the scratch scarred green hidden under bandages. Debrief was quick. Ambush, all lost. No mention of demons, classified or dismissed as hallucination. War's end came soon after, but peace? Never back home, California's sun felt mocking. Married my girl, had kids, but nights brought screams. The itch returns. Skin tingles green sometimes, whispers in dreams. Play, Jack. Docs call it PTSD. I know better. The alpha's blood mixed with mine. Part of me stayed on that rock. If you're hearing this, vet or not, beware forgotten places. War wakes old evils. And if you feel that itch after my tale, run, but no, they always find you. The chopper ride off Isla Verde blurred into a fever dream. Blades chopping air, medics shouting over the roar, needles jabbing my arms. He's in shock. Wounds infected. Get him to surgery. Faces swam in and out. A nurse with kind eyes, a doc barking orders. I mumbled about green demons, my squad screams, but they chalked it up to delirium. Jungle rot, one said, wrapping my scratches in gauze. The alpha's blood still burned in my veins, whispers fading to echoes. Come back. Play forever. I passed out before we hit the carrier. Woke in a sterile Navy hospital, sheets crisp, beeps steady. Bandages covered me. Stitches on my side from the alpha's claws. Antibiotics pumping through IVs. The green tint on my arm had faded, but the itch lingered deep under skin. Docs ran tests. Malaria? Some new bug? They never found answers. Debrief was a white room with officers in starched uniforms. Report, Marine. I told the truth, the pack, infections, my squad turning. They nodded, notes scratching paper, but eyes said crazy. Heatstroke hallucination, the report read. Squad lost to enemy ambush. Medals came later, Purple Heart for wounds, Bronze Star for valor. Bull. Valor was Ramirez buying time, Sarge's last stand. They were heroes. I was lucky discharged months later, war winding down. Hiroshima, Nagasaki, bombs ended it. But I wondered if they woke more things like Isla Verde's horrors. Back stateside, California welcomed me with sun and crowds. My girl Emily waited at the dock, tears in her eyes. You're home, she whispered, hugging tight. We married quick, had 2 kids, a boy like Ramirez, full of jokes. A girl with Doc's calm. Farm life? Forgot it. Took a factory job, steady pay, normal hours. But normal? Never nights were worst. Dreams replayed it. Giggles in fog, eyes red as hellfire. Friends' faces greening before they turned. I'd wake screaming, sheets soaked, Emily holding me. It's over, Jack. But it wasn't. The itch returned, random, like a reminder. Scratch my arm, see faint green veins pulse under light. Docs called it nerve damage, PTSD. Pills dulled it, therapy unpacked the trauma. War does that, the shrink said. Guilt for surviving. Yeah, guilt ate me, why me? Sarge's orders, Ramirez's sacrifice, they should have lived. I wrote letters to their families, brave to the end. Lies hid the truth, no one believed demons. Years passed. Kids grew. Emily grayed, but the island clung. Saw it in mirrors sometimes. Eyes flickering red, skin tingling green. Infection dormant, I told myself. But whispers came in quiet moments. Grocery store, church, driving. Play? Jack. Once at a vet's reunion, a guy from another unit mentioned green ghosts on a Pacific rock. Lost my platoon same way. Eyes met. We didn't speak more. Government cover-up? Maybe. War buried secrets deeper than graves. Kids asked about scars. War stories, Dad? I'd spin tales of heroism, skipping horrors. But my boy, at 10, drew pictures. Green monsters with red eyes. Dreamed 'em, he said. Chills hit, had I passed it? Emily noticed my shakes. Talk to me. Finally spilled it all one night, tears flowing. She held me, believed. You're safe now. But was I? The turning point came last year. 80 now, body failing, but mind sharp. Grandkids visit, full of questions. Grandpa, what was war like? I started simple, but the story poured out. The drop, the tracks, the pack. They listened wide-eyed, thinking fiction, but my grandson sketched a green demon spot on. How'd you know? He shrugged. Heard giggles in my sleep. Panic gripped. The curse spread? Through blood, stories. That's why I'm recording this. Old camcorder in my den, voice steady but hands trembling. If you're watching, vet or civilian, heed this. Some islands hold old evils, woken by our bombs and blood. Isla Verde's demons aren't gone, sealed maybe, but waiting. My arm itches fiercer now, green spreading slow. Docs say age spots, I know better. Whispers grow. Time to play. Emily's gone, cancer took her last year. Kids worry, Dad's rambling, but it's real. If you feel that itch after this tape, hear giggles and wind, run, burn the spot, pray hard. Don't let it turn you, thanks for listening. If my eyes look red in the light, well, maybe it's starting. Playtime's coming. God help us all.